Hey, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of the Brief Nerdity podcast. I am your host. My name is Ryan. Joining once again is my good friend and always co-host, Trent.
Hello.
And our other good friend and co-host, TJ.
Hey, it's time to make some crazy money. Are you ready?
Wow.
You're really good with voices. I mean,
that was a thing.
Wow,
That
like
happened.
Crazy Taxi for the win.
Thanks. I love that guy. I don't know who he is or what he does, but I love him.
I did not get that reference. I apologize.
It's still one of the few mobile games I have installed on my phone because it's so easy just to like pop that in and just play like a 2-minute round or whatever. And then
It's amazing how touch controls actually work for that game.
Yeah.
So that's a
I think
great
it's funny
game.
That, like, as a sign of our generation, you still reference "pop that in" as if you're loading a cartridge into your phone.
Well, now that the Switch is popular,
We also say rewind, so it's okay.
It's true. Fast forward. Well, fast forward, I guess, still works, but
Yeah.
rewind. Anyway,
How's everybody doing?
fantastic. It's a really beautiful day today.
Good. I can see that too.
I'm looking out at the mountains, and it's pretty.
How's the weather where you're at, TJ?
it's weather. It's actually warming up a lot. It's going to be close to 90s later this week. So
I'm so glad that you have weather as opposed to no weather.
yeah, weather's good. Yeah, if you've ever had no weather, it's very scary.
It's actually gotten cooler here, which I'm very thankful for.
Oh yeah, super happy.
Welcome to the Reef Ferry Podcast, where we talk about local weather in Salt Lake City and Chicago.
The most interesting of topics.
I say we go through every town and talk about their weather.
All right, well, Tampa, Florida. No, I'm just kidding. Well, let's get into our round robin this week. We're kind of just continuing our Halloween-ish theme as we count down the month and a half or so left until Halloween time. And with that theme, we're going with this round robin. And so the question I propose for you two and myself to answer is, what monster outside of the zombie redneck torture family would you like to have seen torture the main characters in Cabin in the Woods? So as we all know, spoilers for Cabin in the Woods, there's kind of I don't want to say a roulette, but a chance that the characters could choose whatever monster they wanted, unbeknownst to them, and just based on the events that happen in Cabin in the Woods, the zombie redneck torture family is the one that terrorizes them up until the third act of the movie. So, outside of those zombie redneck torture families, who would you have liked to have seen on, just take out these characters? You could choose anything from the board, anything we see in the third act of the film. So, yeah. TJ, how about you go first?
Oh, geez. Well, it is really tough. And if you're listening to this and you have not seen Cabin in the Woods yet, you need to go see it. Or see it by renting it. Or just buy it. Because the thing I love about Cabin in the Woods is, technically, it could be the explanation of every single horror movie ever.
Yep.
It was such a huge surprise. It's been out for a few years now, so I'm sorry if you have yet to be surprised by it. But yeah, as far as what I would like to see, it's tough because I don't know if you agree or disagree, but the zombie redneck torture family that they picked, do you feel like they picked that on purpose because it's such a generic, like cliched monster? And then when you see that, you're kind of disappointed, like, oh man, like they could have had all this other stuff and this is what we got?
I think 100% they did, because based just on the commentary of the rest of the film, I'm sure that's why the most stereotypical, cabin in the woods monster.
Just would have been cooler with a merman.
Yep.
It would be cool. I would love to see the whole movie based around that. That would be interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I would have to say I saw the whiteboard. I looked at that many a times. But I would probably have to go with like killer toys. I always think that's really fun when dolls come to life and just toys in general come to life.
Mm-hmm.
And not like small soldiers. But
no, especially like small soldiers.
So are you basing this on like scare factor or just entertainment? Or...
Whatever you'd like to see, to make it more scary, if you want it to be more scary, or something you would have thought would have been more entertaining, 100%. Just whatever you would want to do a scene.
So what'd you base yours on, DJ? Would dolls have been more creepy to you than zombies?
No, I wasn't really going for the fear factor. I think just it's something I'd really like to see.
Yeah, because there's
So-
not many toys come to life, besides.
I mean, it's one of the most famous horror films of all time, though.
Well, Child's Play.
Yeah.
True,
And
touche.
then you also have Puppet
Touche.
Master. You have dolls. The list goes on and on for probably just a few more movies.
It's a true story. Well, I'll go ahead and do mine next then. I think, unless you were not done, I'm sorry.
No, I'm done.
Cool. So from the list that we see in the movie or referenced at some point, I think I would go with Sexy Witches, which is a specifically different category than just witches.
It's like 1/3 of Hocus Pocus, which is
Yes. Sexy Witches. It's a fun, I don't know, my vanity when it comes to entertainment. So you throw some, sexy guy and girl witches in there to kill everyone. I think that'd be fun.
There you go.
I'd watch it.
All right. Well, for me, I don't want to say it's cheap. You guys might think it is, but they're not shown on the whiteboard in particular. But you can see these monsters in the scene where two of the characters are going down the elevator, and you see a plethora of monsters. In that scene, you could see Left 4 Dead monsters. You could see a hunter, a witch, and a boomer.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow! I didn't know that.
Yep. There was planned for Cabin in the Woods DLC for Left 4 Dead. But
Really?
when the movie was delayed by like 1.5 to 2 years, they decided to no longer pursue it. But yeah, you could see a boomer, a witch, and a hunter in those monsters. So
Now that you say that, I feel like the witch is kind of ringing a bell. I feel like I may have noticed that and just thought like, oh, that looks similar to the witch in Left 4 Dead. But oh, wow, that's really cool.
nope,
That's
they were in there. They were official because, like I said, there could be planned Cabin in the Woods DLC where you would start at the cabin and move on through, the third act location of the movie. Through
Oh my gosh,
campaigns.
that would have been amazing.
So, but unfortunately, it never came to be. But the Left 4 Dead monsters are still in the movie, so the vain gamer in me, is like, man, I would have loved just to have had those guys. Not even have an official Left 4 Dead movie, but just to see a smoker, a hunter, and a boomer. I think that would have been really fun.
Well, let me ask you this. So, those are obviously licensed characters. Do you think the movie would have been better or just as good because obviously all these monsters pay homage to, various horror movies. Do you think it would have been better or just as good if they used all licensed characters? Like if somehow all the movie studios came together and were like, yeah, you can use our character. So they just had like, Freddy, Jason, Chucky, Michael Myers. If they just had everyone in there instead of the monsters they had, do you think that would have made it better?
Kind of like a Ready Player One type horror movie.
Yeah, exactly.
I think if they would have had them in addition to what they had already,
Mhm.
then it would have been amazing, better, I would say. Just give Freddy like 4 or 5 seconds of that last scene, to do something, give Jason 4 or 5 seconds, and then just have, those generic like, manta ray flying things,
Oh,
whatever those were.
yeah.
Have them as well, have some things, but like that one guy with like the buzzsaws through his heads, that could have definitely been Pinhead.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And it wouldn't have hurt the movie
Yeah.
in any way. So
Yeah,
but I
that's
think
what
if they focused just on licensed characters, I think that would have taken away from like it would have distracted too much. So they need to have some generic ones in there too.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
That's what makes me sad about like Hollywood and just like movie production in general is like just the limitations. I mean, we can get into it all about like, X-Men and not being in the Marvel universe and all that
Yeah.
stuff. We've talked about that a little before, but it's just so sad that these companies can't just come together just to make everyone really happy.
It's always so awesome when they do. I mean, like Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Did you ever think you'd see Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse share the screen at the same time in a legitimate fashion?
That's true.
And then the Lego Movie, you have a ton of WB franchises, obviously, because WB owns Lego Movie. But I was surprised and delighted when the Millennium Falcon showed up in the Lego Movie. So
yeah,
because that was especially like right during the time of close to the time of the Disney purchasing Lucasfilm. So I was like, I wonder if they'll make any homage to Star Wars Lego and how big Star Wars Lego is. But
yeah. Well, I have a serious question for you guys. So that just made me think of. So Lego Dimensions, the final wave, supposedly the final wave of content came out, and one of the characters is Beetlejuice. So there's the whole Beetlejuice adventure world.
Uh-huh.
Is Beetlejuice now the only officially licensed Lego minifigure that uses the F-bomb in their property? Because Beetlejuice says the F word in Beetlejuice.
I totally don't remember that.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Like he's in the model town and the little tree breaks and then he says, "Nice effing model," but he actually says it.
Huh.
It's like, and that's the
I'll
whole
go back
thing.
and watch
That's one of the rare old PG movies where they get away with an F-bomb.
Huh.
So I'm like, okay, well, Beetlejuice says the F word. I don't think there's ever been another officially licensed Lego character that has used the F word.
I think you're right. I know they sneak an F-bomb into some PG-13 movies, which do get Lego licenses, but of the PG-13 movies I can think of, like obviously Force Awakens, the Jurassic Park movies.
Yeah, Indiana Jones. I think Indiana Jones is PG-13.
I think, yeah, they are, because Temple of Doom was one of the movies
that's right.
to create the PG-13 rating.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't think they do. So
yeah, well, there you go. Congrats, Beetlejuice.
we should print him a Brief Nerdy award trophy.
And it's funny because that's a very fitting award that Beetlejuice would probably be proud to receive.
It's true. So. If they ever make that sequel.
Did you guys ever hear about that sequel? The official sequel?
Well, I know about the one, way back in the 90s they were thinking about making, but there's still talk today of them bringing back Michael Keaton to make one.
Oh, yeah, I was referring to, like, the original one where, like, Beetlejuice goes
Hawaiian.
Like, yeah.
Yep.
Wow, I'm glad that never happened.
Yep, it was a real thing. Beetlejuice goes Hawaiian.
Yay, 90s.
Yeah, right?
And then, like, in the original script, he goes into a volcano, like, he's helping them fight, like, these evil spirits and stuff, but then he becomes Jucifer, like a giant, like, devil character, and he's the ultimate villain in the end, and, yeah, that would have been interesting.
Interesting's a nice way to put it.
Yeah.
Was he wasn't the villain of the first one, was he?
Yeah, he kind of was.
Yeah, he is. He is.
Huh. It's been so long since I've seen it. I remember, like, obviously the cartoon for forever, like, he's not always the bad guy.
Yeah.
I probably saw way more of that than I ever did the movie.
Yeah, that just shows you how much more lenient they were with, like, kids' properties back in the day. Like, the fact that Beetlejuice has a cartoon, and it's like he goes to, like, a strip club and stuff in that movie. I mean, they only show the outside of it, but it's heavily implied what he's going there for.
It's true.
So,
for kids.
Yeah.
We should talk about, like, our old nostalgic, like, TV to cartoon transitions, like Back to the Future and whatnot. Those are fun.
Yeah, that's a good topic for another day.
It's very true.
Rejected.
Because if we start talking about it now, it's going to be the whole show.
No, I was definitely implying in the future, so we're good.
I just messing. All right, well, let's get to what we're playing. Trent, what you been playing?
So it should surprise no one. I'm still playing a ton of Ark. But I also did this weekend crack open the XCOM 2 expansion and got a couple levels in. And I'm enjoying it a lot. There's a couple of little changes I've noticed so far. The big stuff has yet to happen. I'm assuming it's like mid-game with all the different like factions and whatnot. So, but there have been some already obvious improvements to the gameplay, such as like being able to pick up add-ons from fallen enemies and stuff, which adds kind of another tactical layer to the do I waste time to go pick up this thing. And I've also noticed just in the randomized levels, there's a ton more like settings and like map types with varying like height and stuff. Like there's tunnels and sewers and warehouse stuff, and I'm liking it a lot.
Leaving rabbits to die on your internal storage space on your Switch.
I'll go back to it eventually. He said the same as Zelda, but
Mm-hmm.
I literally was going to play it today, but then I miscalculated when the podcast was going to start, and so like my Switch is sitting right next to me, ready for me to play an hour of Rabbids, but
You should bring it to work and play it on lunch breaks.
nah.
I feel the same way. All right, well, TJ, what about you? What you been playing?
Well, I think like you, I have been playing Metroid: Samus Returns
Woo!
for the Nintendo 3DS.
High five.
Yeah, I believe it's probably the swan song. Well, no, I can't say that because that new Pokemon's coming out. But I was going to say swan song for the 3DS, but no, it's a remake, and I use that term loosely, of Metroid 2 for the original Game Boy. Yeah, it is pretty great so far. It keeps getting better and better. Ryan and I were talking a little bit before the show that I said it seems like Metroid games get better as they go along because the more powers and abilities you have, the more like freedom it feels like you have. And when you have freedom in, those Metroid games, it's awesome. Like when you really feel like you're powered up and a force to be reckoned with, it's cool. But yeah, I'm loving it so far.
I'm loving it too. I remember you had told me you hadn't played the original Game Boy one.
Yeah, just barely played it.
And they're doing a really good job of at least recapturing the spirit of it, but just improving it on every single aspect. So you've already gotten far enough to where you've gotten to like one of those big shrines, and it tells you like how many Metroids you need to kill.
Yeah.
And then it like gets rid of like the acid below it.
Yep.
So just imagine that kind of scenario, but you don't have that big shrine. There's just like random acid somewhere. You don't have a map. You're on Game Boy graphics, and everywhere looks the same.
And your character sprite is gigantic.
Yeah, your character sprite is gigantic. You don't know how many Metroids you have left until the acid goes away. If you can remember where it is, you just randomly kill a Metroid at some point, and then just there's an earthquake that happens, and then like the screen shakes for like 10 seconds or so. And you're like, oh, okay, the earthquake. I gotta find where the acid was, and then go down there, and because that now just opened up the map for me, but I have no idea where that is. So. But
yeah, it's funny. We live in a different time now because I'm pretty sure that Metroid Zero Mission, the remake of Metroid 1, yeah, I'm pretty sure you can unlock the original Metroid.
You can.
So It's like the fact that you can't play the original in this is kind of disappointing. But you could buy it on the eShop.
Yep. But no, I agree. It's really, really, really good. So they're like I said, they're really capturing the spirit of the Game Boy version, but just improving it on every aspect. And I was a little worried because there hasn't been a 2D Metroid game since Zero Mission, I believe, if I'm remembering that correctly. But since then, like the Metroidvania genre has blown up. Like we've had Shadow Complex on the Xbox Live Arcade. We've had Ori and the Blind Forest, and most recently Hollow Knight that I can think of, and a bunch more. So I was like, before I was not worried, but I was wondering, I'm like, can Metroid like do Metroid better now than all these others? And I'm happy to say that they still do it very, very well. And with the added nostalgia bonus points for me, it's like you get, the wave beam. Like, yay! I love the wave beam. I was telling TJ that I just can't wait to get like the screw attack and the space jump, because like that combo is like my favorite in Metroid games. Just to jump around the world, just grinding everything into dust. So that's also all I've been playing. So,
well, I would be lying if I said I wasn't wishing that it was on Switch instead.
Oh, 100%.
Because like the other 3DS games I was playing, like Miitopia and Hey Pikmin, it's like, all right, yeah, fine, these are 3DS games. But this, it's like, it's still a good-looking game, but you just know how much better it could look. And especially with like a really, big widescreen and, HD graphics and stuff. Like, I'm hoping they port this over one day.
I will buy it again.
Me too.
Well, but since they have a Metroid for the Switch planned, do you think that's going to happen in the near future, or?
Well, I think this would be a good game to kind of tide people over until that comes out, because I can't see Metroid Prime 4 coming out until like 2019. I think it's still a ways away. Like, I think maybe at E3, that's when they'll reveal like the gameplay and stuff, but then, it might not come out till the following year. So this would be something good to have in the meantime.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, like, if I was, let's say that Mario Rabbids and XCOM were like the same game, but like different versions of each other, would you want them to come out within a year of each other if you were the same studio?
Well, I'm almost positive Metroid Prime 4 is going to be 3D. That'll probably be first-person 3D, so it'll play completely different.
That's true. I've never played a
Yeah.
3D Metroid, so I always think of it in the 2D
Oh, sure.
paradigm. So
I
you
mean,
are right.
It's definitely in the same spirit of the Metroid games.
Yeah.
Trey, did you ever play Batman Arkham Asylum, the first Arkham game?
No.
Okay. I like to think of that just as a successor to Metroid Prime.
Yeah. That's a good comparison.
Interesting.
But yeah, so they just... Yeah, it's the same. It's like comparing the Link Between Worlds to Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
There's... Or in your case, Trent, if you haven't played Link Between Worlds, like Link to the Past, Zelda Link to the Past to Breath of the Wild.
Right.
They're both Zelda games, but they're so entirely different that I don't think one would butcher the other. So,
yeah.
That being said, I don't think that they'll release it on Switch, but it's wishful thinking.
Yeah. I mean, they're porting everything else over to Switch, but we'll get to that a little later on.
Yep.
Yeah, I really wish. I mean, I don't know how much of it we're talking about later, but probably I'll bring it up to Nintendo Direct. Remind me, and we'll go there.
You got it.
So, you guys been playing anything else, or are we going on to what we're watching?
No, let's go on to what we're watching. Go ahead and start us off, Trent.
So, I'm all caught up on American Ninja Warrior. The finale is tonight, so I'm very excited to watch that here in a little bit. I might actually watch it live, depending on what I'm doing in a little bit here. And then just the challenge, and I've been getting through the finale of Teen Wolf, which I'm also all caught up on. So those are kind of my 3 shows I'm focusing on at the moment, and I'm trying to decide. I can probably, once my reality shows finish up, I can maybe fit in 1 or 2 more before all the fall premieres start. So I'm trying to think if there's anything that I must catch up on from this last season, but we'll see.
All right.
Nice.
I see that you no longer mention Big Brother at all.
Nope.
Yep, he said last week he's done.
I haven't even checked who's been eliminated.
Yeah, don't even bother.
Yep. So
TJ, before I get into mine, have you seen The Orville? Have you had a chance to watch it?
No, and I'll be honest, I have zero interest in it because I really don't like Seth MacFarlane.
I would still, with that being said, honestly say you should give the pilot a shot.
Oh yeah?
Because I don't want to say I'm a fan of Seth MacFarlane, but I'm still one who enjoys Family Guy and American Dad. That being said, though, like it doesn't feel like a Seth MacFarlane show. Like it's a lot more. It takes itself a lot more seriously than I thought it would, and I'm sure Trent could agree on there. I think it finds a really, really good balance on being a spiritual Star Trek show, just having a bit of comedy in there too.
Oh yeah, I can't believe I didn't bring up the Orville. Derp.
Is he the main character though?
He is, yeah.
He's the captain.
See that? I don't know. It's not even like his stuff because like I don't even like hate Family Guy or anything. I don't really watch him, but yeah, I don't like him as an actor. I really don't.
That's okay. I just remember like seeing the trailer and it came off very Seth MacFarlane-y, and so Trent we watched it together and he was like, oh, let's watch the Orville. He was excited. I'm like, oh, okay, let's see how this is, And then we both I posted about it on Facebook. I was like, wow, that actually was really good, and I was really pleasantly surprised by that. So, and then the second episode was this past week or yesterday, and it kept that same thing going. I mean, it feels like a Star Trek show, just a little bit funnier. It would be like a Star Trek show, but with like 21st century coworkers on the ship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty right on. And it has so far very typical, Star Trek type episodes. In terms of like what the main challenge or setback of the episode is and everything. And yeah, every now and then I look at the screen and I'm like, that's Seth MacFarlane pretending to be in a Star Trek show. But it's still really fun.
Yeah, for our 4 listeners and for you,
Well, maybe
TJ, I
I'll-
definitely recommend at least watching the pilot, maybe even the first half of the pilot, if
Actually, I think this second episode was better than the pilot, personally.
I think so too, but I'd still say watch the pilot first. Yeah, and I think you'll know if you'll like the show, at least based on the 2 episodes we've seen.
Yeah, 'cause the first one was a little rocky, but I thought this one was really good.
Cool. Well,
So-
maybe I'll give it a whirl.
So outside the Orville, a few things of note I've seen. South Park season 21 started last week with the season premiere. It was terrible.
Oh no, really? I still have it recorded. I didn't watch
Sorry,
it.
it just wasn't good.
Oh no, it's okay. I figured it wasn't that great because I've seriously heard nothing about it.
hmm
Like zero.
Like
Which is
I,
probably why I keep forgetting to watch it.
I was really excited that the season was not going to be serialized, like I've mentioned before, and so yeah, this was a relatively standalone episode. Except they were trying to tie off a few knots that were left over from the last season, and I think that might have got them stuck a bit.
Mm.
But I don't know, just the whole premise of the episode, none of the jokes really landed, and so kind of just ended. And I was like, oh, okay, good start. So hopefully they'll pick it up, you know.
And if not, hopefully the game picks up that slack.
Yeah, soon. And TJ, you'll be happy to know I finished Leftover season 2. We had to binge the last 3 or 4 episodes.
Oh really?
'Cause
Why?
They were
Why
good.
did you... Oh, okay.
They still had a bit of the weirdness, and I kind of had to face palm a couple times. But other than that, they were really good episodes, and then we had to see what happened next. So, and I really liked just the conclusion of the season was really satisfying.
Yeah, doesn't the second season feel a lot different than the first season?
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay, good. So, well, it's just funny because I know the third season you're going to be like, what the hell is going on?
Great.
The third season's just really, really strange. Like, they kind of just go for it, and yeah, you'll see.
I watched a trailer for season 3, like just a promotion, and so I was like, oh, he's going to be okay. So
yeah. Well, good. I'm glad you liked it. I thought you were gonna say that you binged it because, like, yeah, we just wanted to get it over with, so we just binged it. And...
like I said, when the show is good, it's really good, but when it's bad, I want to like tear my hair out. So it's very polarizing for me. But it was I love it when it's really good, and it was really good those last few episodes. Pretty much from the first episode in the hotel on.
Oh yes.
I would say was really good, and we couldn't really stop. So,
well, good. I'm glad you're sticking with it still.
yeah.
I
So
always tell you that.
gonna wrap up the season 3 here, probably next week or 2, and then we could more talk in depth about it. Maybe not on the podcast, but
yeah. Alrighty.
Sweet.
So that's it for me.
All right, yeah. So as far as what I have been watching, as far as TV shows go, I know Vice Principals. The second and final season just started yesterday on HBO. If you've never seen that show, it's got Danny McBride and Walton Goggins, and it is one of the most ludicrous shows I've probably ever seen in my life. Are you guys familiar with the show?
No, I haven't.
So basically, Danny McBride and Walton Goggins are co-vice principals at a school. The principal spot opens up. They both go for it. Neither of them get it. They hire an outsider, and they both hate each other, but then they end up teaming up together to just make this principal's life a living hell to get her out of there. That's really not spoiling anything because it happens fairly quickly in the first season. And I mean, I can't even describe in words how crazy the show actually gets. It's pretty intense.
Not to mention, I remember seeing previews for it.
Yeah, the previews really don't do it justice. They make it seem a bit more tame than it actually is, but yeah, they don't hold back with anything in that show. So that's about all.
Really enjoy it though.
Oh yeah, I love it. I'm a big Danny McBride fan. I like pretty much anything that he's in.
He's kind of hit
So,
and miss for me.
Well, one thing I like about this, he's still kind of goofy, but he's not like an idiot, because that's what the role they give him in a lot of movies. He just kind of has that like stupid humor. But in this, like, he's very good at his job. Like, he's a very good vice principal, which means he deserves the spot as the principal. So, but then he's still Danny McBride, though.
Yeah.
So,
Like as much as I love the movie, This Is the End, I thought he was probably the weakest aspect of that movie.
oh, really? Huh.
Yeah.
I wish I
Yeah,
could contribute to this conversation, but
Sounds like we gotta watch
But,
This Is the End.
apparently.
That's a good one.
Has Emma Watson in it, Trent?
It does.
I'm not as enamored by her as you are.
That's okay.
But yeah, and then as far as movies goes, I watched that movie It Comes at Night. Have either of you guys heard of that? It came out in theaters like I think earlier this year.
Well, was that the It sequel? No, I'm just kidding.
No, this is my It themed movies for the week. I'll be
No, I
talking
haven't,
about.
I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, it's like a horror movie. The main star in it is what's his name? Joel Egerton, however you want to pronounce that.
Okay. Yeah.
It's kind of like an indie movie, like a lower budget horror movie they advertised it as, but it ended up being terrible. Like I really, really hated it. Probably one of my most hated movies of the year, and I am so thankful that I did not see it in theaters. It's one of those movies they advertise to be one thing, and it ends up being nothing, is how they advertised it. I felt like I didn't get it. Like I had a theory after watching it, and then I was like, maybe I missed the mark. And then I looked it up. I'm like, no, I understood it. It's just it's that bad. So
does that tend to, like, when you feel like you've gotten a bait and switch from the previews, does that tend to bug you, or does it just depend on the quality of the movie?
Oh, that's a good question. It depends on the quality of the movie. Because the reason that there's bait and switch with this movie is because, for the most part, it's a very grounded movie. It's one of those, like, end of the world, like, you don't know what's going on, but there's a sickness being spread around. It's kind of like The Last of Us. Like, it feels like it has that vibe to it. So this family is just trying to survive and keep this sickness away, from their house. They end up helping another family and let them move into the house, and then that's where things go crazy. But the bait and switch comes into play because there are dream sequences that the main son is having, and that's where all the like scary, weird horror stuff happens. So none of it ever really happens.
Oh.
So in all the marketing and stuff for the movie, they're showing like these weird looking people and stuff, and like people throwing up this like black goo and all that, and that is all dream sequences. It doesn't happen. So yeah, so I cannot recommend that movie to anyone.
A good example of a bait and switch is Cabin in the Woods.
Right, and that's actually what made me think of.
Oh yeah, good point.
That was a huge bait and switch, and also movies like what was that M. Night Shyamalan one that came out this year?
Split.
Split, yeah.
Right, that also had kind of a little bit of maybe not a bait and switch, but a bit of a twist.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cabin in the Woods. Oh, go on.
Yeah, I think I would agree. If the movie sells it, it sells it. Then it's fine.
Yeah.
But it's just one more thing that you'd be like, oh yeah, it's nothing like what they promised. Blah blah blah. But yeah.
Do you guys remember that Peter Jackson directed movie about like the kidnapped daughter?
Lord of the Rings? No, I'm just kidding.
Yep.
No.
So wait, Peter.
It came out like late 2000s, before the Hobbit movies, but after Lord of the Rings. I might have to look it up, but I don't know. The previews made it sound like a very like standard affair, but it, like a teenage girl gets kidnapped in the town, and the local sheriff is looking for her and stuff like that.
That's the movie with the girl's name is Susie Salmon.
I think so, yeah.
I can't remember the name of it, and it's going to drive me crazy because I have seen that movie.
But do you kind of see that as a bait and switch as well? Like the whole movie is like tons of like dream sequences and trippy sequences.
Well, a little bit, because my wife read the book, and it is pretty much what the book is, and the book just ends up being like bad in the end. It has an awful ending, and the movie actually makes the ending a bit better, but it's still really bad.
I didn't
see
that going into it.
Oh yeah, it's
the
probably
Lovely Bones, by the way.
The Lovely Bones. There you go.
That's what it was.
How could you forget a name like that?
Right.
All I remember is the guy saying, "You are beautiful, Susie Salmon." That's all I remember. So I can't remember.
That's all it needs to be remembered, because the rest of the movie is terrible. So
yeah. So no, that movie is about this girl. She gets killed, and then her ghost, like, she kind of doesn't move on. So she sticks around on Earth trying to help her family figure out who murdered her.
That's right. Sorry,
Yeah.
I threw us off with the kidnapping part,
But it's nothing like Patrick Swayze's Ghost. That's a much better movie.
much better movie.
So there's no guy on the subway that teaches her how to like push things and lift pennies.
Yeah, lifting pennies is my favorite.
Yeah. But no, I think Cabin in the Woods is probably the best bait and switch I've ever seen in probably anything. So, but it comes at night. Don't see it.
Don't see it. Got it.
Look up the trailer and then just remember what I said, and then you'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's probably terrible." So
All
yeah,
right.
and one last thing. Today I officially got my Movie Pass card in the mail. I think it's been like 3
Yay.
weeks. So I was very anxious to use it. I do plan on seeing movies later this week, but I'm like, no, I want to use it today. My wife and I had some free time, so we went and saw It again.
Nice.
I thought you had to link the card, but there was nothing in the app that really said that, so I just had the card and the app already set up. I got close to the movie theater, opened up the app, saw the showtime for It, went to do it, and then it asked for the the last four digits on the card.
Oh, right. It did ask me for that. I did forget about that.
So I put that in, and it said your card is successfully linked, and then it just looked like loading, and I'm like, okay, well, I think it's ready to go. Go into the theater, go to pay, card gets declined. And I'm like, okay, there's a problem. So I go back in the app, and then I just like backed out, went back in, picked the showtime again, and this time when I picked it, it instantly said like link successful, like with a big exclamation point and everything. So it let me know this time that it works. And I had the guy swipe the card seriously within like 10 seconds after seeing that, and it worked fine.
Nice.
So they send the money to the card like right away. So yeah, there were no problems. If it continues to work that well, I will be extremely happy with the service.
Yeah, the 2 times I've used it, I wasn't able to use like the self-help kiosk outside to order your own tickets. Both times it gave me a card read error. Not sure if it was just the kiosk or.
Is that supposed to work?
I don't know. 100%.
Okay.
I just know that I've tried it 2 times at 2 different theaters. I haven't gone like from kiosk to kiosk trying. Well, like once it gets a card read error, once I'm just like, whatever. I just go inside and talk to the desk there. So, but yeah, it's worked inside every time flawlessly.
Yeah. So yeah, I know like Lego Ninjago comes out this week and Kingsman. So normally like Kingsman is coming out in IMAX. I like the reserved seating and stuff, but I kind of feel like I know that movie's not going to sell out, so I'd kind of be stupid to pay $15-16 for an IMAX ticket when I could basically get the ticket for free.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'll try it again for that.
And for me, we have a theater here that does like recliner seats, and unless you're in the front row, like pretty much everywhere you sit is good in the theater because of that. So,
well, that's good.
even though they have reserved seating, you can still sit anywhere with MoviePass and still do well.
Cool.
And people have said you could buy the tickets earlier in the day. So I've thought about maybe like on my lunch break, just running to the theater and grabbing the tickets, and then for a 7-8 p.m. showing.
Well, see, and that's one issue I'm kind of running into this week. I mean, I guess it's not an issue, more of an inconvenience. So when they say you can only see one movie a day, they mean within 24 hours.
I thought that was changed, though. I remember that being an older rule.
Oh, really?
I remember reading around the time that the $99 or $9.99 price happened that's no longer a rule, that they do it. They now make it once per day.
Oh,
but
well,
I don't
I'll
have
have to
any
look into
evidence
that.
to back that up. I just remember reading that. So.
Oh, well, no, I'm glad you said that, because I'll look into it, because I was going to say, like, I'd like to go see Kingsman on Thursday night at, like, the 7 o'clock show, and then, Lego Ninjago earlier in the day on Friday. So, but I was like, I won't be able to do that.
Well, you can give it a shot. Let us know if it works.
You got it. But I saw, I'm not going to talk about it very much, but seeing it again, like, I still loved it just as much. There were a few things I noticed this time around that I didn't catch the first time. Probably one of the creepier parts in the movie that I just completely missed because it happens in the background. For anyone that
in the
has,
library.
Yes, in the library. Yep. Yes. Just look in the background of the library scene. Just focus on that, and you'll see what I'm talking about if you didn't catch it.
Yep.
So I almost have been convinced to go see it.
I want you to see it so bad.
Me and another one of Trent's friends were putting on the heat pretty hard yesterday. So.
I think
Ha-
once my movie pass ticket shows or card shows up, I'll probably go see it.
Hooray!
There you go. When did you order your movie pass card?
Last week-ish.
Oh, okay. Because a few emails have gone out just saying like there is a delay, but they like doubled their like employees and stuff like that, and doubled the production, so they're getting the cards out faster now.
Here we go. So I ordered it on the 8th, and then on the 13th, apparently I got an email that said, "Yeah, due to heavy traffic, blah blah blah." Basically, what you were just saying. So
Cool. Well, hopefully you get
Soon.
it soon because it's awesome. It's a very gratifying feeling when it works and you are seeing a movie basically for free.
it's pretty sweet. I'm excited. I think it's going to completely change the way I view movies, and like I'm probably going to see a ton of movies I would never have seen otherwise.
That's kind of
Yeah.
what I'm thinking as well. Like the only movie I could think of close to us right now is that new Pixar movie coming out.
Coco?
Yeah, Coco. Like it's one that I didn't think I would see in theaters just based on the previews. You know, maybe if reception for it comes out extremely positive, I would have gone to see it, but
Yeah.
it wasn't really on my radar. But yeah, I'll definitely go see it now, no question, unless it's terrible according to reviews. So
Yeah.
No,
if it's another good dinosaur.
Yeah, well, I mean, like we said before, you know, if you're watching it and you just don't like it, just leave. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's true.
Yep. Especially if it's free.
That's right. So yeah, so there you go. That's what I've
Yeah.
been watching.
All right. Well, there was a Nintendo Direct this week too, TJ.
I know, I was watching that.
Why don't you kind of walk us through it or lead the discussion for it?
Sure. So yeah, I don't have notes of like the actual list of everything they show. We're not going to go over everything though. But some of my personal highlights. It was a 45-minute direct. They showed off a ton of stuff. The past like few directs that Nintendo has done have just been like bullet point after bullet point, just like firing off all these games, and like they'll reveal games like in between games that they've already shown before. Like you just really don't know what to expect. I really thought going into this that most of it was just going to be about Mario Odyssey, but they closed it off with they closed the show with Mario Odyssey, and it wasn't that long of a segment. But the stuff they showed with that is just amazing. I know the last show I said I don't think they need to show anymore because everyone's sold on it, but I can't not watch the new footage that they release. And I guess this is a good thing, but I'm almost kind of worried that the game has too much. I don't know if you guys saw the footage and got that same feeling, but it's just like it's almost overwhelming at this point how much is in that game.
Speaking of someone who feels that's a negative to Breath of the Wild, I'm still not to that point yet as far as what they've shown on Mario Odyssey. And to kind of turn things around the other way is that you mentioned how great the footage was, and I was like, should I watch it? And you're like, definitely. So I'm like, okay. So I watched it, and it sold me more than anything else we've seen on the game so far.
Oh, good. Good.
Especially just seeing the worlds, a lot of the worlds anyway, not all of them, and seeing like some of the power-ups, quote-unquote power-ups you get by possessing different things, like one of the Hammer Bros,
Yeah.
and things
That
like
weird
that.
lizard that can like glide through the air.
Yep. And then just kind of explaining things like, oh yeah, you get the moons, and the moons power your little ship here, and that takes you to new worlds. I'm like, okay, that's very Super Mario Galaxy in that matter, so to speak. And so I'm like, okay, this is starting to do well with me, because I don't really want to sound weird about it, but like the way the game was marketed before, it seemed like you were going to go to a lot of just like real world locations.
Sure.
It's kind of in the title, Super Mario Odyssey. Even the title card has like that globe there. And then they had New Donk City with its weird human-looking people, which is obviously going to be New York City. And then they had another level, one of the few levels they had shown off at that point, which looked like just Mexico. It's like, here's the Mexico level, here's the New York City level, here's the rest of them aren't true, but like here's the Rome level, like stuff like that. I was like, I don't want to do that in Mario, But them seeing, even though they're very themed like that, one is still like just a city level, a desert level, an ice level, kind of feelings to them. And so I'm like, okay, I could dig this. And then just seeing the power-ups, and me gonna collect all those moons and do everything like that. I'm just very, very much more excited for it than I was before.
Well, I will be shocked if there is not at least one like Mushroom Kingdom themed world. Like just more like one world that's like traditional Mario stuff that they just haven't shown yet.
That would be awesome.
And then one thing, like they said, I guess there's like well over 600 Power Moons to get. So like Power Moons are the equivalent of stars in like Mario 64.
Yeah.
The thing with this though is, you have like a set amount in, one of the worlds, but you could just stay in that world and then go around collecting them. Like in Mario 64, you'd get a star, it would kick you out, and then you kind of have to pick the mission, and the world would change accordingly. So just like a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, think how long it would take to get 600 stars in Mario 64, but it would take a long time because it would keep booting you back to the castle, and then you're going back in. So if you eliminate all that time, that's definitely going to help this.
Yeah, I think it was only what, the 100 coin stars that would let you stay in the level.
Yep.
And then only is there certain levels where you had to pick a certain base star in order to even get the 100 coin, just based on the way the level was set up. So I always thought that was interesting. But yeah, I think you're right. If you can get like 3 or 4 in the space of 15 minutes or something, because they're all kind of near each other, then 600 isn't nearly as daunting.
Yeah.
Even so, did Mario Galaxy 2 have several hundred stars in it, especially when you add the green stars into there too?
I think so. I can't remember the exact number, but yeah, like you would beat the game and then you could play as Luigi, and he would have his own like set of green stars and stuff. So it was a lot, but nowhere near 600 though.
So it's interesting to talk about the Metro Kingdom. I actually hadn't seen the Mushroom Kingdom, rather. I hadn't seen the footage until just now, so I was kind of watching it on silent while we were talking. The full name of the city level is called Metro Kingdom New Donk City, which I thought was really funny.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
And there's literally like it shows a literal globe of traveling from like place to place on the map. So it's almost like we're seeing the first kind of like 3D world representation of the world that Mario lives in.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, you just assume like, oh, it's Earth, but obviously it's not.
Yeah.
And then if you notice on that map, there is a very prevalent moon in the picture, so I'm assuming that you're going to go to the moon at some point.
That'd be awesome.
That would be amazing.
Mario with moon physics.
Uh,
I mean, we are kind of got that in Mario Galaxy, but
now that I'm looking at some of these shots, the moon is in almost every background shot also.
Oh, well.
As they're showcasing the levels. That's really interesting.
Yeah, because you're 42 stars in Galaxy 2, by the way.
When you're collecting moons, so that kind of makes sense that the moon would have a theme.
Yeah, I guess. Thank you, Trent, for pointing out the obvious that none of us noticed. That is not sarcasm at all.
You're welcome.
And even though they haven't showed it in any footage, one thing I'm weirdly excited for is Bowser having the same ability as Mario to possess things.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I think because usually the Bowser boss fights are really good and creative. So if he's turning into a bunch of stuff while you're turning into a bunch of stuff, I can only imagine.
Yeah, it'd be way fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just watching these videos, or like this footage. I am super excited. These levels look incredible.
Right? My biggest wish for this game at this point is at some point in the game, if after you've collected every moon or every something to kind of give you, basically show that, hey, these are the expert players, that they unlock another smaller world for you to go to that is extremely difficult.
Yeah.
The Champions Road and the last few bonus levels in Super Mario 3D World were amazing. And like I said, I don't want to toot my horn on very many video games, but I'm really good at Mario games. And so just having those good challenges is just like a feast for me. And so I hope they have something equivalent. And not like the 120 bonus stars or star bonus at the end of Super Mario 64.
That was pretty cool, though.
It was pretty cool at the time, but just in hindsight, it's like, hi, it's Yoshi. Well, thanks for playing our game.
And there's a cannon outside now on the roof.
Here's unlimited lives, that you don't need anymore.
Right.
Yeah. Or like Zelda Ocarina of Time, you collect all the Skulltulas, and again, here's infinite money. It's like I've collected 100 Skulltulas. What could I possibly need money for at this point in the game? So
Yeah. Well, no. If I'm assuming they'll continue that trend of including at least a really hard stage as an unlockable at the end. So
I was a bit of not a masochist, but a torturer to one of my friend's kids he was like 12 or 13 or something like that at the time when Super Mario 3D World came out, and he was saying how good he was at Mario games, and I was like, okay, I will give you $100 if you could beat Champions Road on Super Mario 3D World. And my friend was visiting, and this kid just sat like in the living room playing just on the Wii U hand tablet itself, just playing it for hours and hours and hours trying to beat it, and he never could.
And then you took $100 from his piggy bank.
Nah.
So am I the only one that had a little squee moment when it shows Dr. Mario walking around?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you were not alone.
You were not. I was like, yes, I did too. Sorry.
No, it was good. I'm just watching it just now, and I was like, ee!
What about the fact that Mario's nipples are now canon?
What?
Yeah, it's not the first time he's been shirtless, but I guess it is the first time you've seen his nipples.
I don't know
It's
what
little
you're
things.
talking about.
There's one scene where he's running on the beach and he doesn't have a shirt on, and he has nipples. And the internet had a field day with that
Kind of
one.
went a little crazy about it.
Hashtag Mario's nipples. I can
I
see
apologize for adding to it, but yeah.
it. Oh, there he is. It literally just came up on the screen.
Nice.
Oh, that's awkward.
Yeah,
But Mario
that
Odyssey
day
looks
cannot
amazing.
get here. Yeah, it cannot get here soon
Just
enough.
a little bit more than a month away, like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
But
excited.
yeah, so they showed a ton of other stuff. They had a really long segment about Xenoblade Chronicles 2. The Xenoblade Chronicles, I did not play Xenoblade Chronicles X on Wii U. It was just way too overwhelming for me. I heard it's an awesome game, but one of the most overwhelming looking RPGs I've ever seen. My buddy, he played through it, and he had me over one day, and he just gave me like the whole tour of the game, and I'm like, no, I can't do
ain't nobody got
this.
time for that.
Yeah. And I played through, I think, maybe a third or half of Xenoblade Chronicles on Wii, and it was an awesome game, but it's a big time suck. And I just, there's other stuff. There's too many games I want to play. But yeah, they showed quite a bit of this one, and I don't know what you guys think, but it looked a little rough around the edges. And I know those games are huge, and they take years to make, and I'm really surprised that this is coming out already. So I hope they weren't like cutting corners and stuff, saying, all right, you got to just get this out as quickly as possible.
I honestly wasn't paying close attention. I kind of turned my brain off during that section of the direct and kind of just looked at something else because I don't really care about that series at all. So I just
well, on the flip side, though, when it comes to JRPGs, did you watch the segment about Square Enix Project Octopath Traveler?
Yes. OMG, that game looks so good.
Yeah, so it's like an very old school looking RPG. It's sprite-based characters, but the world is 3D. It's a very interesting art style. And they released a demo that same day.
That's right. I forgot about that. I need to download it.
You could play as two different characters. It's a pretty decent length for a demo. I played through one of them, one of the stories so far, and I'm really, really excited for it. That game, the demo has a lot of surprises. It has almost full voice acting, and it's actually really good voice acting. So it's funny seeing sprite-based characters have excellent voice acting, and it's very mature themes.
Yeah,
there's
I
a
heard
girl.
that.
Yeah, there's a girl you can play as. She's basically a dancer, like an exotic dancer, and then there's a guy you can play as. He's a knight. So I played as the knights, or I played through the knight story. But people that have played as the girls, Primrose is her name. They said very, very, very adult themes in that one. So
sounds like my kind of game.
Is this going to be on the Switch?
It's a Switch exclusive. Really? So I would download the demo. The one word of warning that I will give about the demo, it's very wordy. The story goes on and on and on before you actually get to play. But stick with it, though, because when you do get to play, the battle system is a ton of fun.
Awesome. I definitely need to play it because the footage looks great.
Yeah, download that demo, both of you.
I'm not a big fan of modern JRPGs, but classic JRPGs is basically what I grew up on, so that's pretty exciting.
Oh, no, you will get the feels from this when you play it.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
is there a release date for it?
They just said 2018, but they are doing like when you download the demo and play it, they send you a survey in the email. They're like, "We want your feedback." So I don't know if that's a good sign or if that means
people were
this
joking
game-
about that sometimes game companies released betas, but they're basically just demos. But this time they released a demo, but it's basically a beta,
Yeah.
asking for feedback for the game and stuff.
All these
So-
words that the gaming industry are just blurring together at this point.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, it's awesome. It was a lot of fun. Me and my buddy played the demo, and yeah, we had a great time. You fight a boss in the end of it, and like it killed us a bunch of times, so you had to really like rethink the strategies we had and everything. And yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, so one of I think the coolest announcements to come from the Nintendo Direct was Bethesda's upcoming support. For the console.
Unbelievable. I would not
Right?
have predicted that in 1,000 years.
My jaw hit the floor knowing that my 2016 Game of the Year and game I never thought I would see on the Switch, Doom, is coming to the Switch.
Yeah. Yeah. So not only Doom, but the new Wolfenstein.
Yeah,
Wolfenstein.
You guys, I can't tell if you guys are being sarcastic or not.
No, I'm not. Doom is a very good-looking graphically game, and most people thought the Switch is going to be left in the dust as far as third-party support, because it's not as powerful as the current console hardware, and no one wants to downport their game to it. But they managed to get Doom on there, the 2016 Doom, and make it look still really, really good and play really, really well.
That's pretty exciting.
So that's just awesome.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I don't know if this is a Bethesda thing where just like the engines that they have are really easy to kind of adjust to like lower powered hardware. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. That comes out, I think, early December, Doom. And then Wolfenstein won't be out until next year. But yeah, I mean, Skyrim comes out, and supposedly now it's confirmed that Skyrim isn't the old Skyrim. It's not the full like HD re-release that they put out not that long ago. Or was that almost a year ago already?
Yeah.
Holy cow. Yeah, but they said it definitely looks better and has some of the elements from like the HD remaster, and it runs great even in handheld mode. So
that's pretty cool. Well, and one of the things that I will say about Bethesda is that they're never really, at least in my opinion, on like the cutting edge of what they don't ever drive their engine to the max. But I think, games like Fallout and Skyrim and stuff, that really doesn't bother me that much.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it also lends to why it's so easy to port their games to the Switch. And obviously, I haven't played Doom, so I can't talk about what it's like.
Doom is 60 frames, like extremely fast paced, and that's what like the game is all about, like just nonstop fast paced, like first person shooting.
But is it like high, like super rich, texture polygons?
It's pretty high up there.
It's a really good looking game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It came out early 2016, but I think it was to the standard that early 2016 games were, still really graphically beautiful.
Well, see, and then that's what's crazy because Wolfenstein, that isn't even out yet. That comes out the same day as Mario, so it's like that's a very recent game, and they're porting it over. So, yeah. And I heard that NBA 2K, the newest one, like the Switch port is actually, they did a really good job. The one compromise is it runs at 30 frames instead of 60, but as far as graphics go, there's not that big of a difference. And then you just need to remember, like, this is the portable version of that game now.
Yeah, even though I'm probably not going to buy Doom 2016 unless I see it like on sale. I'm like, yeah, I definitely want a portable version of that. I'm still just happy to have this good third-party support of good modern games on it.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. Well, I gotta be honest, just from this video that I've seen of just the Mario stuff, I am super jealous of these red Joy-Cons.
I know, they look great, don't they?
They look so good. Like, it's like kind of like that deep Mario red as opposed to like the kind of like candy red that the original one was.
I think it's a secret simultaneous release with Doom. It's the Doom Blood Red.
There you go.
That's why they don't have the Mario logo on them.
Do we know if they'll be selling those Joy-Cons separately?
They have not said yet. So.
I would probably buy a set of those if they would, but
because I know the Splatoon bundle, the pink and green ones, they sell those separately in Japan, but not here. So
I'm sure you can import them easily.
But I guess if we're talking about third-party support surprises with the Switch, I don't know if we talked about it last week, but LA Noire, Rockstar is putting a game on the Switch.
So random.
So random. I never thought we would see LA Noire ever again.
Maybe because it
And
wasn't good.
I was gonna say, wasn't it like 3 or 4 years ago now?
it might even
I
been
think it's
longer than
earlier than
that.
I think it's like a 2011 game.
That's the one where you
Yeah.
like drive around in the 50s and like solve crimes, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's all
60s
about
or
like
something?
it was the facial like capture technology that they had. Like when you're interrogating people, you have to look at their faces. So they had
Oh,
real
yeah.
actors and stuff, act it all out, and it still looks good. But I remember getting it and never finishing it. So
Because it's not good.
I just heard it wasn't good, so
It was one of those games where I had to force myself to finish, and I was like, I hate this every moment of it at a certain point. So, and I still finished it.
the crimes and stuff, like solving the crimes, that was really interesting. But there was a whole open world element, like it was open world LA,
Yeah.
and just almost pointless, completely pointless, like driving from point A to point B, like actually having to drive there, because the city there was like nothing to really do in it.
yeah, I remember when I saw it, I was hoping like, oh, is this gonna be kind of like a 1950s like GTA? But no,
No, nothing like
not
that.
even close. Which was
So
disappointing to say the least. So I think they just had like their GTA engine. It'd be cool if we could drive and blah blah blah.
yeah, no,
Well,
it might be, or it was just filler. Like I wonder if you take out all of the open world segments out, how long is the actual game?
Oh man, that's
And
true.
let's just take a moment to think how far we've come. When that game came out, it was on 3 discs,
Yep.
and now it will be on a little tiny cartridge.
Hmm.
I don't even know it came out on. See, yeah. I've been
Yep.
digital for so long that I had no idea that like multiple discs was still a recent thing.
Yeah, 360 and PS3. I know the 360 version definitely had 3 discs. I don't know, maybe PS3 had 2. I don't know.
Let's also celebrate the fact that the Switch will have boobies on it because that game has boobies in it.
Well, there you go.
Thank
So
you, Ryan. Thank you for that.
not since Bubble Bath Babes on the NES have you seen boobies on a Nintendo console.
I'm gonna have to research this and see. There have to be boobies.
No, TJ's gonna go research, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might
I'm
want
gonna go research for 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
you might want to do that in an incognito window before you do your search. Nintendo
So,
boobies.
anything else from the direct we want to talk about, or is that pretty much it?
Yeah, I mean, they announced a lot of other stuff. I would say if you're interested and you haven't seen it at this point, go watch it. It's worth a watch. Tons of still like great indie support. Switch is just really doing a lot better now than ever. And I think at this point in its life, it hasn't even been a year. It's already just like blowing the Wii U away when it comes to support. So
Definitely.
it's good.
Yeah.
It's very, very promising. I hope it stays that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, the footage for Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon looks pretty cool. I don't know, neither of you really play, but I'm excited for that one too.
Yeah.
I mean, I need to go back and eventually actually finish Sun and Moon. But, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to get into Pokemon every few generations, so this is one I'm skipping for now.
Yeah.
Maybe when the first Switch one comes out, I'll.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna spend so much time on that game.
Yeah. All right. Well,
But
kind of another topic. It's not really a news story, but something I feel that we should talk about and bring it up to the panel here. So, how do you all feel about achievements nowadays, or trophies if you're on PlayStation? Does it matter to you very much? Do you go out of your way to get them? How has your perspective changed since they were first introduced at the beginning of the last generation of consoles?
Trent, why don't you start us off on that?
My first experience with achievements as such came from World of Warcraft and Wrath of the Lich King, and I remember being really excited about it, and the people were like comparing like their achievement points and stuff like that, and like thinking it was like a competition. But I've kind of always been of the opinion that achievements are kind of like guideposts. Like, here's another way that you might want to play this game that you maybe hadn't considered before. And so it could give you a goal of something else to do if you wanted to, like, kind of squeeze a little bit more playability out of a game. Or even like some games, it's even shown me things that I didn't even know I could do. Like, go and do this thing in this corner of the game. And I'm like, oh, that's a thing. That's cool. So my opinion of them hasn't really changed. I pretty much have the same view today. That like I'll go in and look at a game's Steam achievements after I've played it for a few hours and just see kind of like which ones sound interesting.
Hmm.
But I've never felt driven to like 100% of games achievements or anything like that.
Yeah, I think for me, it really depends on the achievements. Like, I guess all in all, I really don't care about them that much. I never really have. But I hate, like, for example, I hate the achievements and trophies where it's like, kill 1,000 of this enemy type, or
Yeah.
travel 50 miles, like total, like stuff like that. It's just they're just trying to get you to play the game more and more, even though at that point you're not really playing the game the way it's meant to be played. You're just doing something repetitive, over and over and over for sake of extending the gameplay. um but no, I mean, to say that I don't care about them at all, though, I guess wouldn't really be accurate, because there are some games where, like you said, Trent, it's kind of like a roadmap where it's like, oh, I just got this trophy. It looks like I'm about halfway through the game. Or, oh, wow, there's a trophy talking about that. I would have never known that you could even do that, just like you were saying. So I like the idea of them. I just never understood the people that are obsessed with them and take them really seriously.
I
Maybe
was one of those
Ryan
people.
can talk us
Like,
about.
what's that?
So I was gonna say Ryan could tell us a little bit about that.
I was definitely one of those people, hardcore
Did
in
you-
the Xbox 360 generation.
Did you rent that Korra game, Legend of Korra?
It was an Avatar game, and yes, I did.
There was an
Why?
Avatar game. For those of you that don't know, you can get like 1,000 achievement points in like,
In like
how
5
long?
minutes. 5
Like
minutes.
5 minutes. Yeah.
Tops.
Why?
Because there's only 5 achievements, and they were 200 points each, and all you had to do was get like a 5-hit combo, a 10-hit combo, a 15-hit combo, up to 25 or 2,000 or 20 or 25, whatever the number was. And it was like, yeah, within 5 minutes between booting up the game, starting, and like, okay, like this is how the combat system works. Okay, this is like a BBA combo I could do that's like infinite. All right, that's it. All right, take it back. To be fair, I didn't really spend money on it. It's kind of cheating. I bought it, used the GameStop, and then just returned it like a half hour later, literally. So
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, okay. But yes, I was one of those achievement obsessed players, and it's one thing that really kept me integrated into the Xbox 360 ecosystem for a long time, because by the time PlayStation had trophies, I was already deeply invested in my achievement points.
Hmm.
And so pretty much anything multi-platform I would play on my Xbox 360, and I wouldn't be satisfied until I had like 800 plus gamer score on a game, until I moved on to another game.
Wow.
And I also would pride myself on having 100% achievements on certain series. Like for the Mass Effect trilogy, I was very happy to have 100% achievement on all 3 games. And especially for Mass Effect 1, that wasn't easy. It requires like 4 to 7 playthroughs
Yeah,
to
some
get
of those
all
are
the
pretty
achievements
rough.
in Mass Effect 1.
Don't you have to like use certain powers like hundreds of times on certain enemy types or something
Yep.
like that?
Yep, and like,
Ugh.
again, you can only choose one class when you play, and you can't get some powers on some classes.
Yeah.
And then there's also achievements to say, hey, use this or take this party member with you for the majority of the game, and the majority of the game is almost like the entire game. So you have to do that with all 6 of your party members. Take each of them through basically the whole game. So yeah. And then also like Halo achievements. I had 100% of all Halo achievements for all Halo games. Some of those were really difficult.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm sure nobody cared when looking at like my profile, but in my mind they did. People would look at me like, oh man, he 100% Halo, or hey, he got this really hard Halo achievement. And probably my achievement that I'm most proud of, and the hardest one for me to get, was it was called Nothing Special in the original Left 4 Dead. You and 3 players had to get, and it had to be players, not computer. 3 human player, or 4 total human players, had to get through an entire campaign taking no damage from a special infected.
Wow.
So
Oh, wow.
no hunter, no boomer. Like boomers don't really hurt you, but no smoker, no witch, nothing, no damage for anybody for the entire campaign, including like the finale when you got the 2 tanks.
Oh my gosh.
So, like,
Yeah,
me
I
and
don't
my
know how you did
friends,
that one.
well, I mean, my friends tried for a month or two trying to get it, and we eventually did, and we were very happy. So,
Wow.
like, I
It's
can
game time.
understand now that it was a detriment because I think I missed out on a lot of games sitting there doing what Trent said, like just going 50 miles in a game. I could sit there and like watch a show, but like have my Xbox on and like be holding the right trigger, driving
Yeah.
however long, until that achievement popped. So it was a detriment in that matter, but in some ways it enhances the experience. For example, Left 4 Dead. When it came out, I think there's only the 4 campaigns with it, each of which could be beat in like 20, 30 minutes. So the achievements kind of gave you different challenges and try to beat the campaigns in different ways and on different difficulties. And so that brought a ton of replay value for me for Left 4 Dead. And there's several other games that did the same thing, but I won't go into all of them. So that being said, after I lost my Xbox Live account and lost my 100,000 gamer score, and then switched over to being a PC gamer, I don't care about Steam achievements or Origin achievements at all. That being said, I still, on games I love, I still look for ways to get more out of them and have 100%ed a few games out there. It didn't happen to Andromeda, but it was one I was planning to, and I kind of started to. I just kind of started looking at the achievement list, and one of them is to get like 30 seconds of airtime in the Mako. So Trent, I went to that low gravity planet and found a cliff and started like trying to get as much airtime as I possibly could to try to get like the full 20, 30 seconds or however much it was, just to get that achievement. And so didn't quite get 100%, but I think I'm only missing like 4 or 5 ones there, but just because I was kind of done with Andromeda. So so to answer the original question, I see the value in achievements. I don't care anymore unless it's for a specific game that I just want to get more out of and do exactly what you do exactly what you said, Trent, and like try to figure out new ways to play or just get little fun secrets or stuff like that. So
Yeah,
that's what I gotta say about that. So
I agree. I mean, I'm just going through some of my like most recent finishes of games and just kind of looking at the achievements that I got. Like, and some of them, like Just Cause 3, for example, I probably, looking at it right now, I probably got about half of the achievements from my one playthrough, which sounds about right to me. And some of the ones that I got were really cool, like destroy 5 helicopters in one fight with a rocket boat, things like that were fun. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I definitely, like, if I ever wanted to like go back into it, I'd probably look at the achievement list and be like, okay, I should do this thing.
yeah,
I think it depends on the taste of like what you like and what you want to get out of a game.
Yeah. Kind of a funny story. I still kind of get Pavloved, the little endorphins when I'm playing an Xbox exclusive, either on PC or on the Xbox itself, and I just get an achievement and makes the noise. So like it's like still a part of me like
Bleep
starts to
bloop.
get that like little endorphin, like I don't care. It's okay, I don't care. So,
Bleep bloop. I'm making my own achievables.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's always fun.
Anything else to say, TJ?
No. I guess probably the one achievement I'm most proud of is in Super Meat Boy. There were a lot of other like indie game characters that you can unlock, but they would all have their own like set of 3 levels that you had to beat as playing as them. They'd have different abilities and stuff, and once you beat their levels, then you unlock them to play in the main game. And there is I Want to Be the Guy, which that is that's a very difficult I guess PC indie game. I've never played it, but getting that achievement in Super Meat Boy, beating his set of levels, just I remember being like floored when I was able to do that. So I would have wanted to do that regardless of whether or not there was an achievement, but that's like the one achievement that stands out in my mind is like, yes, I'm so proud of that because it was very difficult.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I play that in New Meat Boy, but if anything is difficult as the actual game, then yeah.
Yeah, it's a procedurally generated endless runner, which I'm not saying that instantly makes it bad, but that's not really what I wanted from a new Meat Boy game. But I have faith in those guys, though.
Well, Team
So-
Meat is very good, except I haven't
Yeah.
played much Binding of Isaac, but we've talked about that before.
Yeah. All right. So what are we moving on to?
Trent, do you want to introduce our next topic?
Kind of. I don't know. I didn't know we were going to come back to it when I saw in the notes today.
I'm glad you kind of feel the same way as I do, ish.
Well, we don't have to talk about it if you guys don't want to.
No, it's a good topic, and I think it spawns a more important discussion once you get past what the headline is. So basically, it's the PewDiePie thing that we touched on a little bit last week, and it's in the time since he's released his apology video. There's been a lot of discussion about it. I think the most interesting thing that's coming out of it is this discussion with like the creators of Firewatch going after his videos with their content on it, and issuing like is it DMCA? Is that what it's called? Takedowns of his videos with their content on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it sparks a really interesting discussion about like fair use and like are they? I don't know. What do you think, TJ? What? I mean, you're the one that kind of put it on here. Was there any specific angles you wanted to?
Yeah, sure. Well,
Look
long
at?
story short, PewDiePie, if you're not familiar with him, he's like the #1 most profitable video game streamer like on the internet. Like if you're listening to this and you have kids, your kids probably watch him. He's
described as the face of YouTube.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's still #1 in subscribers, right? In all of YouTube, period.
Yes, I believe so. So all he does is he just streams games, plays them live, sometimes pre-records videos, I think. I actually never really watched any of his stuff.
Me neither.
But yeah, he's very popular, very, very popular. He kind of makes me realize like how old I'm getting because he's that popular and I don't really know anything about him. But he's had controversy in the past. He's made some weird decisions when it comes to his sense of humor and everything that some people found offensive. But most recently, though, he was doing a live stream of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and he got angry and he called someone the N-word. But he used it in like a derogatory way. He didn't
with a hard R at the end.
Yeah, very hard R, and it's like used it in the way where if he slipped and said that, it's probably part of his normal vocabulary.
Yep.
So people, got into an uproar about it, and then Campos Santos, they're the makers of the game Firewatch. He did a live stream of Firewatch where he played through the whole game, and it was very, very popular. It probably helped, push sales of that game. The company Campos Santos, they were all for it. They're like, great, play it. Thanks for helping us out. Yada, yada, yada. So now they released that statement where they said they're filing that DMCA and they're making him take that video down, and they're no longer going to have him live stream any of their games going forward. So this is where people are split. I don't think we're really here to talk about if what PewDiePie did was okay, because I don't think anyone's going to agree it's okay. My opinion in a nutshell is when you're that popular, especially with kids, you kind of need to be more responsible with, the what's the word I'm looking for? Just like the persona that you kind of want to put on. I feel like a lot of celebrities nowadays, and yes, he's considered a celebrity, just don't really understand the power and influence that they have over people. And I feel like a lot of that power and influence just gets wasted. And it really is a shame because, a lot of kids look up to, this guy. They watch his videos every day. And, if he's going to do this, it's like, come on. Like you have a greater responsibility than that. But I don't think we're really here to talk about that. I think it's more so streaming games in general. And the fact that people are split on like saying Campos Santos has no right to tell him he can't stream their game, but everyone else can. And the people that are like, well, no, I get it. He's marketing their game. He's making money off of it. He's also helping Campos Santos by just getting the game out there. But they have every right to tell him no. So I think that would be a good discussion. And I guess just streaming in general, I've just always wondered why people feel entitled to where they can take someone else's product, whatever it may be, and then make money off of it and just think that that's okay. and just expect the companies to let them do that. So in this case, we're talking about games. A lot of these like live streamers, they make money solely off of playing these games because people watch in, they donate money to them, and they just assume like, okay, well, it's a game, I bought it or you gave it to me so I could do whatever I want with it. So how do you guys feel about the decision that Campos Santos made by telling him, no, you're cut off, basically?
See, it's kind of funny because I have gone back and forth on this topic, throughout the years. I remember I was pretty anti-Nintendo when Nintendo started cracking down on it hardcore. I was like, come on, Nintendo, really? Like, why do you got to be like this so many times? And I think a lot of people are on the side of it because they throw fair use out there, not really knowing kind of what it entails, and I was kind of guilty of that as well. But some of the discussions I've listened to or read in regards to this topic, it educated me a little bit more on fair use, and I believe that it's definitely a gray area. So I don't think we could really determine whether or not a Let's Play is derivative of the work, which enables it to be protected by fair use. And not only that, fair use doesn't just give you a license to kind of do whatever you want. You could only really use it as a defense if you're being sued. And so you can't really say like, oh, I could use this as fair use. It's really only used in court if like Nintendo or in this case Campo Santo comes after him, saying like, hey, take our stuff down. He could use that as a defense, but then he has to prove that his work is derivative. And so it's a whole mess that's kind of gone into it. And again, I'll say that it is a morally gray area, but I'm still probably more on the side of Campo Santo in this area. They did kind of exclusively say, hey, you could stream our game, but at this point, they don't really want him representing their product at this point. And just like, do you remember that kind of mini controversy that went down with Walking Dead where a couple advertisers wanted to back out after a scene in Walking Dead? That's kind of, I won't get too much into that, but that's kind of a similar thing.
Sure.
The advertisers have the right to pull their advertising and support for the show if they don't like the content within the show. And so I think that's what Campo Santo is doing. They no longer want PewDiePie representing their work.
See, that's very different though, because like that carte blanche permission they gave on their website is very different than a contractual advertising relationship where they have the legal right to pull out whenever they want to. Like they gave carte blanche permission to every streamer in the world to stream their game, and let's not make any we've already mentioned it, like these companies get sales off of these kind of videos, so it's not like they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart, like, oh, those little streamers, like, aren't they cute? Like studios love
influencers,
like this,
as
like
they're known.
they give away keys, and be like, please live stream our game. So I mean, I don't know. If he had done it on a video of their game, I would be like, yes, absolutely. You don't want your games associated with that, but this video had nothing to do with their game. They didn't like something that he did on a completely unrelated video and are revoking his right to stream their games past, present, and future because of some broken social contract that he never agreed to.
But I still think it's their right to do so because it is their game.
And the head of Campo Santo, the one that like tweeted about it and basically said, what they're doing, it doesn't seem like they were completely fine with everything he did, and then he did this one thing and they're like, oh, whoa, no, like, get him out of here. It's the repeated offenses that he's made, and they basically just said they're sick of him getting away with it and saying he's gonna get better about it and change his ways, and then something else happens.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think that, like, to me, this I get what they're doing, and I get the reason why, and I get why they would want to do it, but I think it sets a really dangerous legal precedent if we're going to give these studios the ability to retroactively deny someone permission, get their channel shut down, which is something that can happen in YouTube, by the way. If you get enough unexpected DMCA strikes against you with no notice, YouTube will just close your account.
Yeah.
Which is a lot different than like because they didn't give him any warning either. They just filed the DMCA removal notices instead of giving him like a warning letter saying like, take down our videos or else, which is what I think they should have done. because whether you like him or not, based on your videos, like using this tactic to try to get his entire channel shut down, I think is a little underhanded. Whether you like him or think he's reprehensible or not.
But do you feel like that's what they're trying to do by doing
Absolutely.
this? Is get his whole channel shut down?
Absolutely. I mean, if you issued
I
him
don't
a
think
warning
that for a
letter
second.
saying that like we're going to threaten legal action if you do not remove our videos, you think he's not going to remove the videos? Like you still get the end. If your end goal is just the removal of the video, you just send him a warning letter and make him do it. And then if he doesn't do it, then you can take legal action.
I think they should. That's what they should have done. I'm not disagreeing with you there, but I don't think they're trying to take PewDiePie's channel down, because I think anyone would know that that's a futile effort. Even like you said, people with enough DCMA takedowns get their channel down, but not PewDiePie. PewDiePie is Google's baby. They will take care of him, no matter what he does for a foreseeable future.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we don't know the full truth, but it just with everything that I've read and seen, it seems like they're more like, you know what? We gave this guy a ton of chances. He's just not. We just don't want to have anything to do with him. We want to wash our hands of him. We don't want to be involved. We don't want him playing our future stuff. So we're just backing out. We're taking our stuff back.
I like I said, for this instance, I totally understand why they're doing it. I just don't like the idea of what it would allow future people to do to other YouTubers. Like, say, 3 years down the road, someone, like our political situation becomes so toxic that like a streamer mentions that they support a certain political candidate, and so a studio takes down all their content. Like you could literally, as a studio, cite any reference you want and be like, well, this person's a bad person, so we're going after them now.
Well, but I think it still comes down to the question of why are these people allowed? Why is the average Joe out there allowed to make money off of someone else's property?
Because they let them.
Because who lets them?
The studios.
Yeah,
it is their onus to defend their copyright. And I think legally they don't have a foot to stand on because they gave everyone permission to do it on their website. I think if they were to take PewDiePie to court, they would lose.
I don't think so, because I don't think PewDiePie can defend it being. But I don't think he could defend it being a derivative work.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be like he doesn't even have to use fair use. They gave explicit permission on their website for people to stream their content and to monetize it. Period. The end. Like you could change your position now and do defensive copyright stuff going forward, but up until this point, he did everything you gave him permission to, legally.
Well, see, I get what you're saying, and I feel like they took the unwritten law that most of these companies have and just wrote it down. Like they put it into actual words on the website instead of just not saying anything about it at all, but not going after anyone for doing it. They decided to just go that extra step and put it on there. And I see what you're talking about where, yeah, that could potentially get them into trouble because now they are singling someone out when they're saying on their website, we don't single anyone out. Like anyone's free to do this.
Right.
And I get that, but I still feel like at the end of the day, it's their property and they have the ultimate decision on who can do things with it and who can't.
See, but in terms of copyright law, you typically have an all or nothing type system. Like the reason that no one streams Nintendo content is because it gets flagged every time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing with like movies and like going after someone for copyright issues. The reason that certain gaming studios go after like fan-made games, for instance, is that if you can show situations where you chose not to defend your copyright in a certain area, that weakens your precedence going forward. And that's the reason why so many companies go so hard after those types of things. Mm-hmm. And it, like, to me, like, this gray area exists because studios enjoy the publicity that they get from it.
Oh, so yeah.
They have created this gray area to benefit them, and now they get to say, apparently, when it's closed, but to do so in such a selective manner, I don't know. Like, I have a lot of friends who stream, and I think it's entertaining. I think they're using an existing product in a new and exciting way that draws viewers, and I think that is, if that's a skill you have, you should get paid for it.
But so are you saying if you think they have a skill, if they're skilled at it, they have the right to just stream whatever they want then?
I mean,
They can take any content and just stream it and do whatever they like?
any content that's not being actively defended.
Yeah, see, I don't know. It's tough. I mean, you're definitely right about the wording that they had on their website. But even that, it's like, is that an official? Would that be enough to hold up in court? Would that be considered like official documentation saying like, well, no, this is official and anyone can do this?
I don't know.
Or is
I'm
that
not a
them
lawyer,
just kind
but-
of trying to be? Well, no, I know that, but or is this just the website or that company trying to say like, oh, well, we just want to let you know that it's okay for anyone to stream this? Most companies don't let people know that; they just don't go after you.
Right. Which is in and of itself a lack of copyright defense. But
Well, see, and it's not even just streaming. I always think about this with like Etsy, for example. You go on Etsy and look at all the unofficial licensed products that people make themselves and then sell, and they profit off of it.
oh yeah, for sure.
I mean everything, you name it. The big ones Marvel, Disney, Nintendo. People are making tons of money off of other people's properties.
Yeah, I have a messenger bag that has a Star Trek symbol on it, and it was an Etsy purchase from a friend of mine.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I've made plenty of Etsy purchases for that stuff because some of that stuff's great.
Yeah.
But you just have to know that if that company at any point decides that they want to shut you down, I personally feel like the company has every right to.
Yeah, and I think that at the end of the day, they do. I'm just saying that aside from Nintendo, you're not going to find a lot of companies that are going to, at least not in a wide array. And so the question comes down to, is it okay for them to deny one person because they don't like the way that he talks online?
And honestly, I think it is because it's ultimately their product and their brand, and that's marketing. If Campo Santo didn't get anything out of it, and then they were doing this, that would be one thing. But they openly admitted, they're like, our sales for the game skyrocketed after he played it. His videos of his playthrough have 57 million views. It's crazy. Yeah. So they're open, but in a way, I think that gives them even more of a right to do it because they're saying by us not giving him our games going forward, we're going to kind of lose out on that. That's easy money, easy game sales that we can make, but we're choosing to sacrifice that, if it means him not, representing us at all.
I think we can take both sides of this argument and say that both sides are correct and just depending on different point of views. And that's why TJ said it was a very, divisive topic. So, but
it is for sure, and I don't think there's any easy answers. I think that just to kind of the one last thing you said real quick, or at least comment on it, it does give them even more reason because they're associated with him more than they would have been. But at the same time, they probably made hundreds of thousands of dollars off of him.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, if he had been a licensed, person, he would have made money from them and had a share of that income. It's a weird thing that our laws have not caught up to where our current media lives.
And that's what I was going to say. I think when it all comes down to it, this is a good eye-opener, and actual laws need to be written specifically for stuff like this. Because it is that gray area that we keep talking about, and that's why these arguments happen, because no one really knows how it should be handled correctly, because there is no written rule.
Yeah. So let's say that someone, this is just a random offshoot thing, and Ryan can cut me off anytime he feels like this is way done. But say someone made a YouTube video where they used their own special effects and lighting and did a little Star Wars skit that's obviously Star Wars, and they use little toy lightsabers and it's just for fun. Do they have the right to do that?
Well, I think they have the right to do that, but I think if they wanted to take it down, I think Disney has every right to.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic.
Because one example, and then we'll move on. I wanted to kind of throw this in there. I read about today in Chicago for the past couple weeks. There was a pop-up bar. It's a Stranger Things pop-up bar, and it's been really popular. Lines around the block to get in. It's completely themed Stranger Things. They got a cease and desist today from Netflix, but in a really creative way. Like they were almost talking like characters from the show, basically just telling them like, hey, you didn't give us permission to do this, so you said you're having a run for 6 weeks. Just don't continue it after the 6 weeks. So now a lot of people are like, wait a second, this isn't licensed. Like they didn't even get permission for this, and this thing has been open, and they've been making money off this for weeks, and it's not. They never got the okay.
Yeah.
Like, so, is Netflix wrong for telling them like, well, hey, it's cool what you're doing, but we never told you could, so you got to stop it.
Yeah. I think we could probably talk about copyright law for 3 hours.
No, we'll move on at this point.
Yeah.
Who likes Game of Thrones?
I don't. I hate it.
I think it's okay.
I'm just kidding.
I guess we won't talk about it then. But no, Game of Thrones has been said to film multiple versions of the finale to fight against spoilers. What effect do you guys think this will have on spoilers for the season? Think it will do anything?
I don't know. It depends on what the spoilers, like what the possible endings are. And like, are they all at different locations, or are they all like, I don't know. A lot of the Game of Thrones spoilers and stuff comes from like seeing who gets on and off planes at different shooting locations.
Yeah.
Like, oh look, someone's gonna be north of the wall because they're in Iceland or whatever. Like, I don't know.
That's why I think it's going to be really hard, because how much budget are they going to spend filming
Right?
radically different things versus just like a little piece of dialogue that's different or something to that effect? Like, are they going to film like the final scene with like 12 different people sitting on the Iron Throne at the end?
Yeah. Well, isn't that kind of like what Walking Dead did with Negan? Didn't they film him killing everybody?
They did, yeah. Which is
So-
funny because it was in the comic, and they kept the same person.
Yeah.
So,
But even with that, like that's much easier. Like everyone's there already, so filming that extra bit like is not going to cost a lot of time or money. Whereas in this case, it's like you're saying, are they going to fly people all over just to like throw people off the scent?
yeah.
Like, what are they going to do?
Yeah. My faith in their ability to shake spoilers is not very high. I just hope that they won't come to my ears or eyes.
Yeah. It's kind of one of those just deterrent things. Like you try to, cultivate friends around you who don't, spoil stuff, or who know not to spoil it to you, and then you unfollow certain social media sites that like to post spoilers, and it's kind of all you can do.
But I'm a Redditor. There's nowhere safe on Reddit.
I know. That's the thing. It's like one of the reasons that I am thinking about watching American Ninja Warrior tonight as soon as possible is because last year or 2 years ago, when they had their first winner ever, it just popped right up on my Facebook page that morning, and I was going to watch it that night. And I'm like, well, great. Now I know how it ends. Like,
I know for that Game of Thrones episode that spoiled, it was the one where they're north of the wall. The final image of that episode was everywhere.
oh yeah.
On the internet that week. People were using it as the YouTube thumbnail for videos.
Yeah, I'm glad that somehow I was able to miss that.
Yeah, so
Right,
hopefully
that was the week that I moved, and so like I wasn't online much.
there you go. So yeah, it's interesting. I'm glad they're doing it. I mean, it doesn't hurt me at all, except just maybe slightly protect me more from spoilers. But so I'd say it's more good than anything.
Yeah,
But
it depends on where the source of the spoilers is coming from. Like if you have someone on the production team that's helping with these leaks or inadvertently helping, like I don't think it's going to do much.
yeah, probably not.
And if they also like if HBO gets hacked again, like there's
Or they
nothing-
just release the episode themselves online a week
Right.
early.
So I mean, it's a whole other thing. I think, yeah, it's just one of those evils that you just kind of have to deal with and hope you don't run into too much.
Yeah. So anywho, did any of you watch King of the Hill?
Not really.
I dabbled.
All right, so I guess you guys aren't excited as I am, but
I mean,
I watched a lot of it.
I've seen a number of episodes just because it was on like Sunday evening television, but
I had vivid memories for almost all 4 years of my high school. I pretty much went to bed at 10 every night. But then that was because I would lay in bed and watch my TV, because at 10 o'clock they'd have Simpsons, and at 10:30 they'd have King of the Hill on my local Fox affiliate. And so probably, like I said, almost all 4 years of my high school, that was my going to bed ritual, was to get in bed and watch a rerun of Simpsons and a rerun of King of the Hill. And so I definitely saw the whole series at the time over and over again by that point. And so, yeah, I'd say King of the Hill is probably my least favorite amongst the big, Fox animated shows, but it's still, I love that Fox animation, quote unquote adult animation. And so, and being someone who's from the South and has lived in Texas, I could definitely relate, or at least, I know people who are just basically living incarnations of those characters. So it makes it even funnier. So
yeah, I'm
looking forward to it. So
I remember that episode where Hank dances with Ladybird, the dog.
Yep.
Yeah.
The one where he had a narrow urethra.
I remember that one about propane.
Yep. Propane accessories.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Propane accessories. So
yeah.
So, well, speaking of Fox, though, and we talked a little bit about the Orville, but the ratings have been quite good. They're not like out of this world amazing, but people have said that considering it's gone against football every Sunday night, for its first 2 episodes, they say the numbers are very, very respectable. The show's going to be moving to Thursdays soon, and so that should help it ratings-wise, unless it goes up against Big Bang Theory, which kills everything else.
Oh, boy.
But, yeah. What do you think about the ratings, Trent?
I was happy to see the numbers when you put them in the notes. I hadn't actually taken a look at them yet, but because I know that a lot of critics had come out and been critical of the show. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see him as a pretty big jump from the pilot to the second episode. So hopefully that keeps going in an upward direction as people realize that it's kind of a fun, good. I kind of like it on Sunday night, to be honest. I don't know if it really is going to do well on a Thursday, personally. I wonder if they're just getting it away. I wonder if they're just trying to get it away from Star Trek.
Yeah, that's true, because Star Trek will be Sunday. So
yeah. Well, although just for one night, really, until it goes online, and then I guess it's still technically Sunday. But
I was telling Trent that it's a sci-fi being aired on Fox. It doesn't stand a chance.
Yeah.
Well, at least they're airing the episodes in order so far, though. So
yeah, yay, Fox.
So we got to go. A few good movies coming out this weekend. Kingsman 2. We mentioned
gosh, I'm stoked.
So excited.
Oh, I'm so excited. It's like my first kind of post-summer movie that I'm really excited about.
Hopefully you get your movie pass before then.
I'd pay to see it twice, probably.
Yeah, there you go.
Once and then free, quote unquote free.
So we're all pretty sure it's going to be good. Obviously, no guarantees. But in your guys' opinion, do you think it's going to be as good as the sequel, not as good, or better, or as the original?
Well, it's hard to say, because there was so much magic in the first one that I don't know if a sequel will be able to capture that magic in the same way. But the cast is great. I'm still kind of torn on the whole statesman thing, the American side of it.
Yeah.
I kind of liked it being a European thing. But I don't know. I guess we'll see. I'm really excited for it, though. Don't get me wrong. I love Kingsman, The Secret Service. I love that movie. I prefer that over any of the James Bond movies, to compare it to something else. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this.
And the always sequel example I go back to, obviously there's the obvious sequels like Empire Strikes Back. They're always better. But, obviously Kingsman is a little bit different than something like that. But something more akin to Kingsman I always look back to is 22 Jump Street. 22 Jump Street was a lot better than the first one. The first one was amazing, and the second one, it blew me away with how good it was. It's rare that I laughed that hard. I've ever laughed that hard during a movie. So there's a handful of movies I think I could say I was just almost dying the entire time. And 22 Jump Street was one of those. So hopefully this is a 22 Jump Street and not a Dumb and Dumber 2.
Yeah, I'm really excited. The action looks really similar. The humor that we've seen looks similar. I think it will come down a lot to whether Julianne Moore can pull off a good villain in a similar way that they had in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And
They've
then
compared her to like if Martha Stewart ever decided to become a villain.
that
So
sounds fun. The only other thing I'm worried about is that, and I really want to be really careful in the way that I say this because like I don't think that this is everywhere, but there's a little bit of a problem sometimes I think with like toxic patriotism, and I'm like a little worried that like the whole statesman thing might be a little too America
yeah, I
and
could see that.
not as like fun loving. But the stuff that we have seen I think has been kind of like a little cheeky and funny, like Channing Tatum's line, he basically says "F yeah."
Yeah.
At one point, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. So I'm like say like the 80-20 optimistic. So
That's a good balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
we
I
got
guess if we're worried about going from European to like the American side of it, I guess you can look at Fantastic Beasts. Everyone was kind of worried about that, like, oh, the American side of wizardry, like that's not going to be good. And I liked it. I actually liked their
just made
take
me
on it.
worry because I didn't really enjoy Fantastic Beasts.
I was gonna say Ryan kind of didn't like the American side of things.
I just thought there's so many things that they didn't need to change. Like, I don't remember what
Muggle?
yeah, like Muggle. Like, why did that need to be just a European slang? Like, what did you even call them? No mages? It's like the word's so dumb too.
Nomad.
Like, they could have come up with like an original word, but no mage. It's like it sounds like a tween like trying to come up with his own slang. Yeah. But anywho, if Kingsman 2 isn't your bag, you have another movie potentially good coming out this weekend in the Lego Ninjago movie. So TJ, I'm going to need to point to your expertise on this one because I
Sure.
saw the first trailer that came out. I don't know if there's even been more since then, but it seemed like it seemed funny, but I heard that's kind of just going off of the Lego Ninjago TV show, which I'm not familiar with at all.
Ninjago?
Yeah, Ninjago. Ninjago, Lego
Sorry.
Ninjago.
Sorry,
okay.
Ninjago. My bad.
I wasn't going to correct you, but
Ninjago,
I
sorry.
figured you'd want to be.
yeah, but I
I
did
do.
kind of like twitch a little bit every time you said it. So, so no, from what I've read, because I don't really watch the Lego Ninjago TV show at all, but I heard you do not need to know anything about it. This is a standalone movie that does take place in the Lego movie universe, just like Lego Batman did. So it's just another one of those realms, basically. But yeah, they said it takes like the basic story and like world from the Lego Ninjago like TV show and series and stuff, but it is its own standalone movie, so you do not need to be familiar with it at all.
That's good.
There's a few things that kind of worry me though. One is the marketing. Like, I mean, they've been playing like trailers and stuff like that. They have released a few, and there's been some TV spots and everything. But I don't feel like it's really been getting the push that like the Lego movie and Lego Batman movie got.
Yeah.
Another thing, like, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people didn't even know it was coming out this week.
I didn't actually, to be honest, until we were talking about it just now.
Yeah, see, there you go. Another thing too, they are not doing any Thursday night shows.
What?
Which I thought at this point every movie just came out on Thursday night. I know Lego Batman had an IMAX 7:00 show on Thursday night. This is not getting one. I was actually hoping it would because I'm like, oh, okay, not a lot of parents are going to take their kids to see it, Thursday night, during the middle of the school week and stuff. So I was preferring to go that day, but that's not even an option at this point. I can't tell you the last movie that didn't have a Thursday night release.
Yeah.
Not that I've seen.
So that kind of worries me. I think the press is seeing it today, so we'll probably start seeing some reviews and stuff and, opinions on it tomorrow morning. But it's a Lego movie. The Lego movies always do very well. Why does it feel like this one's kind of getting pushed aside?
Yeah, so I'll probably check out the reviews the next couple days, and if it's even anywhere neutrally good, I'll probably see it.
Well, when you got Movie Pass, it doesn't even matter how good.
Movie Pass.
So yeah.
I need to get my card already. Show up, please, like tomorrow.
All right. And our final piece of news this week, we probably don't need to spend too much on it since we talk about Star Wars so much, but pretty much right after our conversation about
Yeah, the very next day.
Colin Trevorrow being removed from episode 9, we got all the news about episode 9, and that is, of course, that J.J. Abrams is coming back as director, and that the movie got pushed from May to December 2019.
And co-writer.
Yes, and co-writer. So, I'm pretty neutral positive on this. I'm still someone who loved Force Awakens, and so I'm sure JJ will come back and finish off this trilogy in a strong manner. Still not having seen episode 8, like I said last year, I still think Rian Johnson would have been the safer bet to go to, because typically in a 3-act story, the second and third act are more closely relate to each other, while Act 1 is more of the world building sort of thing. But that being said, I'm still happy for a bit of consistency in the director there.
Yeah, I think that I'm most excited about is the whole December move. Like, I wanted them all to be December, so I'm really happy about that. Like, Star Wars just feels like a December movie to me, especially now. But
so right now, out of the first 5 Star Wars movies that are released after the Disney buyout, all of them are in December except for one.
Well, so far. I would not be surprised if we heard the Han Solo one was being pushed back as well.
I'm really worried. It's close enough to where it's a little bit too close.
Yeah.
To start pushing it back.
Yeah.
So
You to get finished first.
Well, that's the thing. Isn't it supposed to come out like this May?
May, yeah. It's like 8 months away.
Yeah. 7 months at this point.
Yeah, it's going to December. It definitely is.
I mean, we don't even have a trailer or a teaser yet.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think they want to market it until after Force Awakens. It'd be kind of a waste.
Like, not even a teaser?
Yeah, maybe a teaser. But I would release a teaser like at episode 8.
Huh. It seems weird that you're coming on like the 6-month stretch of a movie and you haven't seen a single anything about it.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen one cast photo.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. It'll be December.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to see Han Solo just 5 months after Last Jedi and then have to wait
a year and a half
months until episode 9.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a good point.
Just split it up. I'm sure that you need to make that Han Solo movie good, please. So take all the time you need.
And what do you want? why do you need to compete with summer movies anyway? Just stake
especially
your claim
Infinity War Part 1.
Yeah,
Avengers 3.
Stake your claim in December because you already have it now with 2 movies. It's the third to come soon.
Mm-hmm.
Just do it. Just make December Star Wars month every year from now until you stop making movies.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. What's your opinion on JJ? TJ?
Well, I guess we're going to have to see how this movie is, because there's just that part of me that wonders if this movie is really that much better, and you could tell the differences, when it comes to the direction and things like that. If people like this better, are then they going to be like, oh, well, now I don't know if I want J.J. Abrams to come back.
Yeah.
Because people seem kind of split on The Force Awakens. I loved it. I thought it was great. And I still back them when I think that they pulled a lot of the similar themes and stuff from the original movies just to help bridge that gap since it's been so long. I don't think they're going to make that mistake again, but I mean, that's just my guess. Who knows if they will. So
yeah, the only thing that worries me about it is, there is a very overwhelming, especially online, The Force Awakens is terrible. I've heard people at work lately just overtly bagging on The Force Awakens. Oh, it's the worst Star Wars since the prequels. It's even worse than a couple of the prequels, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, where is this coming from? And so JJ has that attached to him. And so I'm worried about what that's gonna mean. And maybe 3 years from now is enough time, but I don't know. Or 2 years or whatever it's gonna be. But
they can get over it. They'll still go see it. They'll still probably love it.
Yeah. And like we talked about before, I mean, it's the director, but it's not a one-man show. It's not just him, making this happen. So
yeah, I think a lot of it's going to come down to this next movie.
Yeah.
So,
either way, it's exciting. I love Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm just excited. It's really funny. I had the thought earlier about King of the Hill, and I was like, oh, there's another rebooted franchise, blah blah blah. And then I'm wait, I'm super excited about Star Trek and Star Wars. So am I a hypocrite? I think I am.
All right, well, let's get things wrapped up. TJ, why don't you take us through our listener questions and topics?
Yeah, so we just got a few this week. We had a lot of fun with it last week. So yeah, we'll get through them pretty quick here. I know the show's running a little long. So the first one is best actors for the adult versions of the kids from It. So this has been a very popular topic online. Even the kids themselves said, the actors they would like to see. So we could just go through pretty quick. I don't even have answers for all the kids. There are a few actors I have in mind, though, for some of them. And this was from Dave Garcia.
So I'm going to apologize to our audience and to you, TJ and Vince. I'm really bad with names. I don't remember any of the kids' names off the top of my head.
It's okay.
So I apologize. But a few picks for me. If you pull up the cast photo, TJ, you can see kind of who I'm looking at here. So the Stranger Things kid?
Yes, that is Richie.
Richie. He needs to be played by Seth Green.
Okay, Seth Green played
Exactly.
Richie. Okay, gotcha.
Exactly my point. Because Seth Green played Richie in 1990, and so having Seth Green come back and play Richie as adult Richie is pretty much perfect in my eyes.
Oh wow, I've actually never heard anyone say that yet, and that's I got to think about that one.
Yeah, this is that'd be a fun Easter egg, but then Seth Green is the right age, and you could probably pull off those mannerisms really well.
Do we know what age they're jumping to? Like, is it 20s, 30s?
27 years later.
And
So
they're gonna be like 38 to 40 probably.
Okay.
And how old was Seth Green 27 years ago? The exact right age.
Right. No, he's perfect. I'm trying to base some of my opinions.
Yeah. So I'll keep going. Sorry, the black kid. He should be John Boyega.
See, I was thinking John Boyega also, but is John Boyega old enough though? That's the only thing.
Oh yeah, you're right. He's probably not.
He was like my number one pick, and then I'm like, well, wait a second, he's still pretty young.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're probably right. The clean kid. I think Fred Savage.
That's Eddie.
Yep. So Eddie should be Fred Savage.
Oh man, Fred, you're doing pretty good with these.
Just to make you guys feel old really quick, John Boyega is 25.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, he's
way too young. Sorry, John.
It takes it longer to come back than his age. It takes it 27 years. So
let's see. The fat kid should be played by Ryan Reynolds.
Okay, because he does lose a lot of weight and stuff when he gets older. He does.
I remember it was a point in the 1990 that he's like super hot now. In his late 30s still.
Nice.
Yeah, but Ryan Reynolds is kind of like a smartass though. Like he's just got that sarcasm, and I mean I know he doesn't have to bring that to every role, but he kind of does. So yeah, I don't know. That might be the first one that I would say no to.
I was really struggling with what's her name,
Bev.
Bev, yes, as to what to do with Bev, because all the actresses I could think of were either too young or too old. So someone in their mid-30s, I was having a hard time with.
I'm still going with Amy Adams. I think even watching the movie today, there are a few scenes and even some lines that she has where she sounds just like Amy Adams to me. And even in that picture that you have pulled up, like I could totally see that being a young Amy Adams.
I can see it, but can Amy Adams go that dark? I see Amy Adams' brightness in the sunshine pretty much at all times. So.
I thought she did a good job during what was that alien movie she was in?
Arrival.
Arrival.
Even in Arrival, it's such a good movie, and she was so good in it. Like I just don't think it was her reaching like a dark place.
But she wasn't. I mean, she was depressed the whole time. Like she wasn't happy. Like there was no joy.
That's true.
I don't know. I feel different. I mean, I'm not doubting her acting ability. I just haven't been able to see it yet. Because, I mean, maybe when you talk about the movie, we could talk about it again. Once you know kind of what happens with Bev, but just I don't know. I guess you suggest Amy Adams. So, but do you think Amy Adams could go that dark for this role?
Yeah, I think she could do it. And Trent made a really good point. I think in Arrival, I mean, she doesn't go that dark, but yeah, she is depressed that entire movie. Yeah. So, yeah, I think she could do it.
No, cool beans.
I think it'd be a good challenge for her too. But one that I think she could pull off.
So just kind of a side question, do you think they should get stars for all this role or relative unknowns?
That's actually what I was going to say. It's kind of hard for me to place actors for all the kids because I don't think it should be a star-studded cast. But with the amount of success that it has had and is having, I feel like they're going to try and go big with it.
Yeah, I could see that too.
Yeah, and then I kind of wonder. I'm extremely excited for a sequel. Don't get me wrong, but one thing that makes this movie so great are the kids.
Definitely.
And not having the kids in it, it's going to feel like a very different movie. And it's going to be set in modern day. So I could see them screwing it up. I really hope they don't. There's some things I've heard already about where the story's going, like the differences that kind of make me go, oh, no, that's not good. But, yeah, so we'll see. So I don't know. Maybe that's why, a few stars in there, but I don't think everyone should be, like, a really well-known actor.
Yeah.
Like, I would say for Bill, the main kid, I was thinking Ben Foster. Ben Foster's never really had, like, a big role, and he kind of plays, like, weirdos in a lot of his movies.
Now, the name is ringing a bell for me.
He, let's see, did you see 3:10 to Yuma?
Nope.
Did you? I think in X-Men 3, he was Angel.
I haven't seen X-Men 3 since theaters.
Okay.
Let's see.
Ben Foster, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, Ben Foster.
I'm trying to think of what else he'd been in that you would have known.
He's been in a lot of stuff, but he's never had like. Did you see?
See the Warcraft movie?
30 Days of Night.
I did see the Warcraft movie.
He was Medivh in the Warcraft movie.
Oh, okay. Well, he's very heavily made up, but.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Yeah. I could dig it.
So,
seeing
the great, I haven't seen the movie, but it's kind of like based on the pictures of the kids. I think that Amy Adams would like just matches almost perfectly with the kid actor for Bev. And some of the lists I looked at earlier today, just because I was bored, I think Chadwick Boseman would work really well. He's Black Panther. I think he would work really well for what's the kid's name? I don't even know because I don't have the list up.
Oh, Mike. Mike. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you know what? I think that's what he said when the kids all said who they'd want. I think that's who he suggested.
Nice.
But yeah, I could see that too. Mike's it's gonna be a very difficult role.
And I think for like the really skinny one with the kind of like wavy hair, I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt would be amazing.
Yeah, I think that's who he said for him actually too.
Nice.
So,
I
I could see that too.
I must have looked at that list earlier today as one of the lists.
Oh yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay. Because I was going to say the only difference I had for Richie, and just based on looks, it would be kind of a tough role for him. But I thought Paul Dano, or Paul Dano, however you pronounce it.
Oh, that's interesting. One of the kids, he actually said that it should be Paul Rudd.
Oh yeah. See, as much as I love Paul Rudd, I don't think I want him in it.
That'd be great. I got.
Well, those are.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, those are our picks. No, it's okay. Yeah, so we'll move on. Just a couple more questions here. So John Steino, he said he wants to know our favorite and most disappointing collector's editions of games, and he brings this up because he's a big Marvel vs. Capcom fan. And I don't know if you guys saw the controversy around that collector's edition, but you get the 4 statues, and then you get a box that has the Infinity Stones in it. And the one they advertised looked like different, like, cut gems and stuff like that. And now people are getting this, and it basically looks like plastic Easter eggs that light up.
Ooh.
Like, they have no shape or definition, and they just light up, and you can't take them out or anything. So look up the comparison pictures if you can. So that's what he wants to know.
For me, I have to go with Bioshock 2's. One, just because of the quality of the game Bioshock 2 was. But TJ, do you remember how big that collection edition box was? Bioshock 2?
Yes, because it's funny you say that, because Bioshock 2 is actually going to be my most disappointing one.
Yes! Oh, man. Yeah.
So wait, and I'm sorry, did you say that was your most disappointing?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I'm sorry, I missed that. Yeah, because remember it came with that little gun?
Yep.
And the gun was really tiny, very cheap plastic, and it didn't even come with the batteries for it.
Jeez. Yep.
So like it lit up. I think it might
So
have made a
bad.
noise, but it was awful. That was the first collector's edition I bought where I'm like, I really need to start putting thought into collector's editions now. Like
Right.
going forward, I really need to do my research because this is terrible.
Bioshock was one reason I haven't bought one in a very long time. Like I honestly can't remember the last one I purchased since Bioshock.
Okay, wait a second. Did you say Dead Space or Bioshock?
I said Bioshock.
Okay, I'm sorry. I sent you guys the picture of those Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I was totally caught off guard.
Because Death Space came to my mind with the little plasma cutter thing.
Yeah,
I was like,
Dead
I
Space
don't remember a gun in the Bioshock one. But okay.
Dead Space is what I was talking about. I am sorry. As you can tell, my mind can only do one thing at a time.
Wow.
That's all right.
Picture.
Yeah, that picture. Wow, just jeez.
Yeah, that's terrible. Those really do look like Easter eggs.
That's a class action lawsuit waiting to happen.
Yeah, and I mean, even look at like the hinges on the box. Like
Yeah.
the advertised picture doesn't have that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that thing's like $200. It comes with statues, but it's not cheap. So
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was your best one, Ryan?
My best collector's edition?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Ooh, ah.
Come back to me.
Oh.
What was yours, Trent?
So I've actually only ever bought one. So I guess it's my best and my worst, but I was really happy with it. So it was for StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty. And Blizzard always does a really good job with their collector's edition. Like I'm pretty sure I got like a really cool it's funny because I've never used it. It's a flash drive that had like some videos on it or something, but like, the flash drive looked like a piece of Terran tech, which I thought was pretty cool. And then like the box itself looks amazing. It comes with a really cool art book. Like that's kind of Blizzard's signature, is that they always have like a hardback art book of some kind that just like 50 or 60 pages full of like concept art. Is really well done, like high glossy paper. And then I think there was a couple of other little things in there as well that I can't remember, but I was really happy with it. It was really expensive, but the reason I haven't gotten any lately is just because I just prefer digital so much now that I just don't want to buy all the physical stuff anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So do you think like the Sonic Mania Collector's Edition, which I love that. That's not my absolute favorite, but I love that one. But it came with a digital copy. Do you think going forward, do you think a lot of companies are going to do that? Like once we reach that digital only gaming market, do you think they're still going to sell these collector's editions with like download codes?
100%.
Yes, and I think they should.
That's what Mass Effect Andromeda did.
Yeah.
They had the collector's edition that came with the drivable Nomad, the remote control Nomad, but you bought it, it didn't come with any game. So they did that so they didn't split platforms, like you know. But yeah, I think that's where it's going.
I think I think things like Loot Crate have shown that people love getting like swag of the the things that they like. And so I think that allowing you to get I think that they should just, I don't know, because then it wouldn't be limited or collector's edition or whatever, but like I would love to just buy some of those things individually as well. But I don't know. To answer your question, I think they definitely should lean towards like, you get the game code on Origin or Steam or whatever Nintendo thing, and then the collector's edition package shows up in the mail soon after.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
So I remembered mine, the Halo 3 Legendary Edition with that Master Chief helmet.
Oh yeah.
The cat helmet?
Yep.
But you still display prominently.
I do. Like, I love that helmet so much. It's just looks high quality, and I love when Master Chief looked like that, not like what he looks like now. So.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Well, my
the
favorite
very first
is...
like $100+ editions out there, because I remember like someone telling me about the Legendary Edition is going to cost $150. I was like, yeah, right. And then it came out, and I was like, oh, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but look at that. You got your money's worth because you still have it on display.
I did. I do.
Yeah.
So well,
my favorite My favorite of all time was Ni no Kuni on PlayStation 3, the Wizards Edition. It just came with really, really cool stuff you could actually use like for the game. Look it up; it's really neat, and it was like really hard to get. You can only get them through the Namco Bandai website, and then pretty much like most people's orders got canceled like out of nowhere. It was like impossible to get, but somehow I got mine.
That's awesome.
It was weird. Yeah. So yeah, Ni no Kuni Wizards Edition. And then I guess besides that, I mean, there's been some decent ones, but it was actually hard for me to think of a lot of really memorable ones. So that right there should tell me not to buy a lot of collector's editions.
All right. Well, I think we're overtime for this week. So Trent, why don't you take us out?
Alrighty. Well, I'd like to reach out to all of you guys. We love getting these user questions and topics submitted. So if you'd like to go to our Facebook page or to our website, briefnerdity.com, or send us an email at briefnerdity@gmail.com, we'd love to include your topics in future episodes. So give us a shout out there. And make sure to follow us. Go to iTunes, leave us a comment or a rating if you would like. And we hope to see you again next week.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.